Peace, peace, peace. You are now tuned into the vault. Just want to thank you for listening live. This is your host, Sharif Ali. Just want to thank you all for tuning in. Get ready to go over a very important topic tonight. So I just want to thank you all for tuning in live. Once again, it's your host, Sharif Ali. If you want to check out more of my posts, they're on the Vault, TheVault, on what is that? YouTube. I'm on Facebook. I'm actually broadcasting live from both places. I'm gonna be doing this a lot more for all my Facebook friends. I know y'all really enjoyed the content. Had a great response this week, and I just wanted to address some major issues because I see that like it's hilarious out here how a lot of people are asking questions, and I just don't really know much about. Out here how a lot of people, don't know about what's going on in the public when it comes to trust in foundations and things of that nature. So let's just go ahead and if you have a job, it is very important for you to have a family trust. If you have a job, at least you can do is get a family trust. I have a lot of people always ask me, well, if I have a job, what's the benefit of me having a trust? The first thing is that the fact that you can have a trust, which is a person. I have to address this for you all. A trust is a legal person, just like your social security number is a legal person. That means it can buy, sell, hold property. Okay, so that does not mean that it can't go out and purchase a home for your family, that it can't go out and do business on behalf of your family. Now all of you all can see how business is done by the elite. They all have trust in place, but a lot of people want to know, well, what type of trust is it? And I will be going over that tonight because I had a lot of responses this past week where a lot of people were like, oh, well, I went to a public lawyer. You went to a public lawyer, first of all. And then they're going to tell you how to protect your family estate. And I've heard people tell me this week that, oh, well, I went to a public lawyer and they told me that a trust isn't good because I don't have a lot of assets. I don't have a lot of assets. I'm going to tell you what an asset is. An asset is a thing that produces income. You are the asset. You have to protect your greatest asset. Okay? You don't need to beg a job for social security insurance or health insurance. The family trust can insure you. Okay? So the family trust is supposed to insure you. You're not supposed to be dependent on a job because that's why you have a job in the first place, because you haven't learned how to turn your family into a business. Well, guess what? It's about your last name. Your last name is the business. Okay? So let's just go ahead into it real quick. When people say, well, how is it that I can have a trust set up? A lot of people don't understand. And I just want to thank everybody tuning in live, especially Demi. Appreciate you, already responding. But a lot of people don't understand that if a trust is a separate, distinct legal entity, it can actually do everything you do. That means it can actually take care of you like if it was your parent. Okay? It is a trust. It is a separate, distinct legal entity. So it can pay for your children's education. Okay? It also can pay for your groceries. But the thing about it is a lot of people don't want to get out of this mindset, and this is what we teach in trustee training, which is own everything. Our whole lives, especially in the public school system, we've been taught our whole lives to own everything. Own our house, own our car, own everything. When you are in a trust, you do not own it. You control it. It is not about ownership. It is about controlling your assets. Okay, I'm gonna give you a quote from a very successful entrepreneur who did not graduate from college and barely graduated from high school. His name is J.D. Rockefeller. He says, own nothing, control everything. Okay, I'm gonna give you another quote by another individual who utilizes these entities. Everyone's mad at Rothschilds and his heirs and his family members. Okay, Rothschild says, I care not who makes the laws, give me control of the money. He didn't say he wanted to own the money, he wanted to control the money system. Okay? See, there's a benefit of controlling stuff. That means you give up liability. So when a lot of people are in a position of liability, they're in a position of liability because they own something. That means you can be sued for something. Okay? The information that I go over in trustee training and what we train our trustees, what we go over is putting yourself in a position of owning nothing, controlling everything. You utilize trust vehicles to do that. You don't need to get mad at Donald Trump when he says, guess what? I don't have to show my tax returns. Why? Because he doesn't have any income coming directly to his social security number. the money's going to a trust. You all are familiar that wealthy people have money going to their trust. Well, guess what? That means you need to be in the same type of position. Because you're not going to beat this system of capitalism, which was set up and founded on trust, and then say, oh yeah, I'm going to beat it with my social security number. Social security numbers were created in 1913, okay? Contracts and trust have been used since the 1600s, okay? So you're not going to beat this system when it was founded by wealthy individuals. And wealthy individuals put a tax law in place to never hurt themselves. So when you think that you're in a system where they're going to write the laws to benefit the poor, for what? Poor people can't help poor people. Rich people are supposed to help poor people. And you want to know how? Rich people all have foundations and trust. Facts. So when you get mad at them for putting themselves in a position to not only mitigate and lower their tax liability through these entities, which you call tax shelters and things of that nature, didn't they set up your local hospital? Didn't they set up your local park? Didn't they set up your local library that you're benefiting from? Didn't they set up the local school system? Don't you see Carter G. Woodson with the school? Yes, because these individuals know how to operate through contracts. This is how you live through the ages. Rothschilds, their family is living through the ages right now because they have trust and foundations in place. It is up to you and your family responsibility as a man or a woman to set up an entity that can live beyond death tax, probate tax, and inheritance tax. I guarantee you, if you have not already gone through that situation, when it comes time for you to pass away, you can have a will. Guess what? I'll share with you the whole will scenario. A lot of people say, well, what if I have a will if I don't have a trust? And I'm going to talk about that. A lot of people say, well, Sharif, are you giving legal advice or tax advice? First of all, we're having a conversation. First of all, I'm not giving you advice. Okay? It's pathetic to have people say, oh, you can't give people legal advice. Well, guess what? What's a public attorney going to do? He's going to give you advice in his favor so you can do business with him. It's called a sales job. Don't think a daggone lawyer is just going to tell you some information and he's not going to benefit from it. Yes, he's going to benefit from it. So let's talk about this will. So a lot of people say, well, what if I have a will in place? So when you die and you have a will, you can write a will and you'll put that in place. And then guess what? When you die, it will go to the lawyer that wrote it. And the lawyer will take it down to the probate office, which is basically the office where people have died, and they register it. Okay? Now your family has to go through that lawyer and they have to pay that lawyer. Okay? They have to make sure that they can get assets. And guess who gets paid first? Not your family. The lawyer gets paid first. Okay, so let's go ahead and identify this situation. The lawyer gets paid first in this situation. Your children don't get the money first. And then guess what? There's still other taxes in place. Inheritance tax. Now you're passing on an estate to your children where they have to pay inheritance tax. Do you understand how rich people are avoiding taxes by utilizing a trust, not a will? They don't use wills. Wills are for people that are ignorant and don't know. Because you got to understand how the system is set up. The system was written by wealthy people. It wasn't poor people who wrote the tax code. So let's just go further into it. If you have a will in place and it won't protect the assets because it's got to go through probate court. If you die, you'll die intestate. These are legal terms. So I don't need to be a lawyer to speak terms. You need to learn how to protect your family estate. What are you working hard for, to pass on something to your children? Or are you working hard just so you can go to the Bahamas and vacations while you're here on this planet? I'm speaking to a specific caliber of people right now. I promise you. I'm not speaking to people like my grandmother. My grandmother told me this. She said, when I die, I'm not passing you nothing. I said, damn, Grandma, you don't love me? She said, I love you. I'm just not passing on something to you. I said, why not? You want to know why she didn't say yes? It's because she didn't understand how trust was structured. I do. Now I'll never make a silly statement like that to my children. I'll pass them on with something better for the next generation. So-called African American people can't be in this country complaining and crying, talking about some, oh man, the white men don't want to help us out. Or they want to sit here and cry and say, oh, well, that's just the way it is. You can't pass anything on to your children. You want to know why you can't pass anything on to your children? Because you were given a public education. You want to know who put that public education in place? It was called J.D. Rockefeller. You can go look it up. It's called the General Education Board and Friends. The General Board of Education was created by J.D. Rockefeller. When you give large donations to things, you can learn how to control it. He didn't want to own the school system, he wanted to control the school system. Well, when you have entities like the Rockefeller Foundation, and you can give a thing called an endowment, because everything in the society is being run through endowments, you can control the society. They did studies on these rich people to control the society with endowments, controlling people through education. If I keep you ignorant to the law, you'll never know how to use it. Okay? So you need the will, I'm not giving legal advice, so it doesn't matter anyways. But like I say, when it comes to a will, it's not the strongest entity. Does it give you some form of protection? Yes, it does. Why does it give you some form of protection? Because a will at least has a statement by you. But that's not always the best position to be in, because if you own something, you can be taxed for it. That's why it still goes through probate in the first place. So let's go to a trust. There's over 80 different styles of trust. Okay, 80 different styles. That means that it's over 80 styles of contracts that you can use legally. Okay, but there are specific styles of trust, and that's what we go over in private trustee training. So if you all want to be enrolled in private trustee training, we're getting ready to wrap up enrollment. I do a semester every semester. It's a 16-week course, which is 4 months. And basically what we do is we teach you and educate you on how to protect your family's estate. Okay? Very, very important to learn how to protect your family's estate. There's many different types of trust. See, a lot of people recently have come to me about this living trust and this grantor style trust. Once again, if you are looking at a living trust or a grantor style trust, that means that you did not give up full rights to the property. We do not recommend that in trustee training. Granted, a public lawyer, he's going to tell you it's good. Why? Because when the assets go back to you, he can still help you out. If you give up all your assets and you put them in a trust, then guess what? You don't get taxed for them anymore, because you gave those things away irrevocably, not revocably, meaning you can come back. For all you all that want to know, well, if it's not legal advice, what are you doing? We're talking financial literacy, like Demi is on here. Demi said he's studying financial literacy. And I know most people don't know about trust. That's why when people say, oh, well, the 1% has these tax loopholes, I can show you for sure. Through a system of interrelating trust, they don't have any tax loopholes. They utilize entities. Okay? See, the way I was educated, and I'm going to tell you all, this information I'm talking about, first of all, is private. So why would you get private information in the public if you're a public person? You won't. You have to be educated through two sources, through a private community or through a private family. Through a private family, private mentor. And that is what I've been privy to have for over 4 years now, is a private mentor. Okay? You have to enroll either in trustee training, or guess what? You can live your life through a 1040. Okay? A 1040 where you say you have a corporation, but for some odd reason, you're still filing 1040s. That's a W-2 employee worker position. We don't fill out those tax forms. We don't own the money that we receive. We have it received through a trust. Because a trust is a legal person. Just like your social security number is a legal person. But when you're not educated by a private family or a private community, you will never know that information. Jonelle says she's interested in enrolling in trustee training. Take down this email, hfrn.vault@gmail.com. Suzanne said, how many people are in the community? Once again, it's a private community. So, you know what I mean? See, this is the difference between public people and private people. I'm going to tell you the difference between public people and private people. Public people are liabilities. They want to own everything. Private people, they want to control everything. Okay? So when you ask information in the public, you have to be aware that you know that there's a public corporation and there's a private corporation. Why don't you know how to set up a private corporation? Because you have to be instructed in a private manner to where you're not going to compromise our lifestyle. Okay? Where you're not going to compromise the way that we generate wealth. Privately, through private entities. I'm going to drop this jewel on y'all tonight. Yes, Jonelle, HFRN.Vault, VAULT @gmail.com. I'm going to share a jewel with you all tonight. This is the first place you can look. See, a lot of people don't know. A trust is nothing more than a contract. Okay? A trust is a contract. It's a three-party contract. Okay? So let's just go ahead and look at how do we have this right to contract? Because we are in the United States. I have no problem with saying that. Okay? So let's look at it. We have to go to the Constitution because wealthy people wrote the laws once again, not poor people, not people that are begging for handouts. Rich people put laws in place. So what did they put in place to protect their family's estate? They put Article 1, Section 10 of the United States Constitution. Okay, Article 1, Section 10. It's a pretty lengthy article. It talks about gold, it talks about silver, it talks about debt. But one specific part that rich people put in place was this line: no state will impair the obligation of a contract. So if me and you wrote a contract and it says you're going to cut my grass, and if you don't do it correctly, then there's going to be some repercussions, we can take that contract into a court. Okay, see, a private contract does not involve the government. Public contracts do. So when you understand the difference between public and private contracts, meaning we can contract unlimited privately anytime and every time. The only time that we deal with public contracts is when we contract involving the government. So why do you need a private family trust in place? Because me and you can contract privately, or you and your family members can contract privately and never involve the government. So when you go to a public lawyer and say, hey, can you set up a private contract for me? They're going to tell you it's no benefit to them. Why? Because they are public. They are public attorneys. See, private families set up multinational corporations, private corporations. Do you hear that? You have to go to someone that knows this knowledge to actually set it up. That is what we do in trustee training. We make sure that your estate is protected privately, not publicly. That's why I don't have to be a public lawyer, because I'm not under any rules in licensing. Those are for public people, so they can set up a public corporation or public trust. There's different types of trust. There's public trust and there's private trust. Okay? So when you want to protect your family estate privately, that's what you should be focused on. Setting up your family estate privately. And people say, well, I have a job. Yeah, I know. At least you should do is get a family trust. Why? So it can pay for your children's education. So it can pay for your family's health insurance. And be an expense to the trust, because the trust is a separate person. It can expense those expenses. Peace, Royal. How you doing today? Thank you for tuning in live. So I just wanted to set the record straight, because I have a lot of people come to me and they say, well, I have a job. And I say, yeah, you're right. You do have a job. And that's why you need to have a family trust, so you can pass on the legacy. And when you're in our trust system, then you learn how to utilize these entities like all rich people and pass on wealth tax-free, because there are certain entities that pass on wealth tax-free. Rich people don't want to pay taxes. They give away their wealth through charities. And they also do that with a fringe benefit to receive it back. So I just wanted to set the record straight today. I am open to questions. I see Ray, I see you're on YouTube. If you want to apply for trustee training, it is hfrn.vault@gmail.com. Naeem, I just want to say salam to you. Thank you so much for tuning in live. Antoine Gordon said these trusts never pay taxes. You're completely right. When you think these people are setting up multinational corporations and they have to go to some offshore country, I want you all to Google, and if you all have a membership to Bloomberg, you actually see the entire article. Bloomberg said this is the new tax haven for people in the world. The United States, it's always been a tax haven if you understand the tax code. Okay? Why do you think rich people have antitrust lawsuits against them? Bill Gates had an antitrust lawsuit. After he finished with that antitrust lawsuit, guess what? The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation was created because he didn't know this knowledge. So when you all see that he was the richest man, guess what? You don't hear about Bill Gates being the richest man in the world anymore. Why? Because he doesn't own any wealth. The wealth is going to his private family foundation. It's going to his trust. That's how real wealth is passed on. Yeah, Bezos took the top right now, but that's because he's still in the public. That's how wealth is passed on tax-free. It's by putting it in separate, distinct legal entities. That's how family wealth is perpetuated in this country. Not passing on because you work hard. So if you all want to ask any questions, feel free. I'll stay on for a couple extra minutes. You know, I am a private trustee. I don't own anything. You can sue me all day. It doesn't matter. Okay? But it's own nothing, control everything. That is the law that we preach and teach in our private trustee training. That is the community I come from. Why haven't you heard that in public school? But they told you, hey, put the life insurance in your name, put the car insurance in your name, go buy a house, build your personal credit. Everyone knows business credit is going to give you more than personal credit. Everyone knows that. So why would you come out of school and get personal credit? You want to know why? Because you've been instructed your whole life with a public education to get public information. When you come from the community I come from, we only focus on business credit because our family is our business. Our family deserves unlimited business credit. How do you think foreigners are able to do business so successfully in this country, in the United States? It's because they set up businesses. But guess what? That doesn't mean they own them all. They can control them through entities such as trust. Some people utilize LLCs, S corps, and C corps. But I'm gonna tell you the difference between a LLC, S corp, and C corp, and a trust. There are public trusts, best believe it. But I'm talking to you all about private contracts, the right to contract, Article 1, Section 10. If you're not instructed in this information through a private family or private community, you'll never know how to utilize that one law. And you think there's a tax loophole for rich people. No, the law is sitting right in front of your face. Just like the president of the United States will come on TV and say, oh yeah, the private sector is doing well. What is the private sector? The private sector is trust. I look forward to you all joining private trustee training. We're going to go ahead and start our new course here in the beginning of September. But this is what we do. I look forward to building a private community of people of integrity. I know that my message isn't for everybody. Some people are okay with, living their whole life and never, passing on wealth to their children. But I'm looking for those individuals, the ones that have integrity. Royal says she wants to learn how to own nothing, control everything, no longer be a public consumer. And I appreciate you saying you want to go private. See, the people think that the United States doesn't respect your right to privacy. That is a total farce. Do you think, once again, rich people will put laws in place that would erode their privacy? No. They just don't tell you the laws that keep those foundations up. They give you statutes and codes and ordinances so you can remain foolish. They give you LLCs, S corps, C corps, tell you to start public entities. All the while, you hear about wealthy families using private trust. And a specific style of trust too. Best believe it. It's specific because it's over 80 different styles of contracts. Like I said, a trust is a contract. So, I definitely encourage you all, even if you have a job. Because why? Your money's already taxed in your job. So you already got an asset. Once you have the money in your hand, you're supposed to be a trustee. That means you're supposed to be the fiduciary. That means you're supposed to grow your wealth, not sit on it in a bank, where the bank is now taking your money, being the trustee and lending it out to other people. That's what a trustee looks like. A trustee looks like a banker. We are private bankers when you are a trustee. So if you would like to know more information about private trustee training, you all can email our team at hfrnperiodvault@gmail.com. I highly recommend you all go to the YouTube page, Sharif Ali, and start really looking through those episodes, because I've done a ton of episodes. I've been on the air for over a year talking about stuff like this. I've been in training for years now, okay? And I do not want to hear our people in the public talking about some, oh, well, a business is this and a business is that. Guess what? There's a private side to it. So let's talk about that. And I don't need to be a lawyer to know that. Peace, Trelly. Thank you for tuning in live. There's a young lady. I hope I don't get her name wrong. It's Zena Morris. Beautiful name. It says, so LLCs is not a good company to have. My business is under an LLC. It's not that it's not beneficial. See, the reason why you see a lot of large Fortune 500 companies have LLCs is to put up a front so you do not know what a trust is. When you go to a law dictionary, it says a trust is a secret. So why would you need to know that they're utilizing a trust, which is helping them not pay taxes? That's why Bill Gates did get hit with an antitrust lawsuit. It wasn't because he was completely creating a monopoly. It was because he was utilizing trust to hide his wealth. You all can Google, what is it? Google, Amazon, and there's another one that had a big issue with antitrust lawsuits. especially in Europe right now. If you all Google Europe having an antitrust lawsuit, but then it's also marketed as, oh, they're being unfair to the competition. You're right. When you want to know what another wealthy person said when dealing with a trust, J.D. Rockefeller said competition is a sin. Wow, competition is a sin. Right. You utilize trust to eliminate competition. That's why they get hit with antitrust lawsuits. Okay? So LLC, is it beneficial? LLC is good if you and this is not legal counsel. It's just letting you know a LLC is a limited liability company. You can utilize that LLC as a pass through. Why? Because it shields you in the public. Some people say, what's the benefit of having an LLC? Let's just say you have an LLC. Say you have like a restaurant. Cool. You can go ahead and deal with the public insurances that you need for a restaurant or some type of medical practice or something of that nature. But that doesn't mean you have to be the only owner. And I have an episode about being a sole proprietorship, but you have an LLC. Why is it if you have an LLC that you're filling out a 1040? If you have an LLC, which should be a corporation, should be classified as a corporation, you should be filling 1120 out. It's an 1120 tax form. It's a U.S. corporate tax form. If you have an LLC, isn't that supposed to be a separate, distinct legal entity? Isn't that supposed to have its own EIN number? Correct. It's supposed to have its own EIN number. Okay? So I do want to stay on topic tonight. I do consultations at hfrn.vault@gmail.com. It's not bad to have an LLC. Of course, I started out with LLCs. But like I say, as I grew and got around my mentor, I learned that the only way to roll is to own nothing, control everything. To put yourself in a position where you're not liable. And the LLC does, that's why it's called a limited liability company. It's because it does limit your liability in some respects. But LLCs can have multiple members. So a trust is a person. It can own a portion of the company and receive the profits, and you still manage it as a manager. Okay, so there are benefits to having public entities, and really that's to shield your private aspect, so people don't know exactly how you're operating, especially if you're in the public. So just want to thank you all for tuning in live. This is August. I'm getting ready to wrap up doing episodes every day. Most likely I'll do some more episodes on Facebook, but I'll do most of them from YouTube. I really like YouTube. You can see all the episodes in one straight line, but I talk about privacy all the time, protecting your privacy, protecting your family estate. See, I am creating a private family community where men and women can feel safe and practice their privacy privately. And I know, I love it. You want to know why I love it? Because most of you all know who Martin Luther King is. But when he was doing his journey, people thought he was playing games too. And now you see his name everywhere in the United States. His legacy lives on because he knew how to develop a structure and a system. That's what private families do. They create structures and systems to have their family names live on through the ages, not just go be a worker bee at a job. You're welcome, Zena. Hopefully I'm saying that right. It's a beautiful name. Royal, appreciate you. But like I say, I don't need to be long-winded. I just want to thank you all for tuning in live. Share this with your friends and family. Enroll in private trustee training. hfrn.vault@gmail.com. I just want to let you all know right now we're game planning for our next event. We've done 2 events this year. They are private events. We're going to be doing our next event most likely in December, and I do want to say it's in California. I'll let you all know if it's once we lock down some other things, it's either going to be in most likely in Northern California. So I just wanted to let you all know that. But we did do one in Dallas this year. We did one in Jersey. I don't do cold weather, so I won't be going to a cold weather area. We're going to be where the heat is at because I don't do snow. So, but I have a team of trustees. I have a team of financiers that we make sure that when you even have a private family trust, you can actually know how to finance that entity. When you get inside of a trust, you are a fiduciary. That means you're supposed to grow your family estate. You have to think like a banker, a private financer. Leaving a job mentality is going to be the thing of the past. Growing your family estate privately is the focus. So I just want to thank you all for tuning in live. Share with your friends and family. hfrn.vault@gmail.com. Check out the YouTube page, Sharif Ali, as well. I do have a Facebook page, The Vault. And I just want to appreciate you all. Thank you all. This is how you know how Trump said, make America great. You make America great by helping people understand the law system that they're living in. Understand the law system that you're living in. And rich people wrote the laws. Poor people didn't. Appreciate Appreciate you all. Peace and enjoy the rest of your day.